Common sense buffs. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without some dope content to react to. Buffs Nation, what's good? Today, I will be giving you the reasons why I think Joseph Williams is going to be the second leading wide receiver for these Colorado Buffaloes. We have a certified baller on our hands in Joseph Williams, and his name might be flying under your radar with that loaded wide receiver room. And for some fans, they may not have even heard his name, but I'm telling you, by the time this season gets going, you're actually going to understand why Joseph Williams could be Colorado's second leading wide receiver in 2025. So let's rewind the tape a little bit. I don't think he was a highly recruited coming out of high school, but he was very, very versatile as a player. So he's out of Arlington, Texas. We know Texas football is big time football. And there he was very electric. I think he played both sides of the ball, and I think he played quarterback for most of the season. But in his senior season alone, when he switched to wide receiver, he put up 666 yards and 12 touchdowns on just 38 catches, which means he was a breakaway player in high school. That's production with efficiency, which is his calling card, right? He doesn't need a ton of catches to get his yards, and he's going to need to be the kind of player who's able to share his catches and still get his numbers. Then he heads over to Tulsa as a true freshman last season, where he racked up 30 catches. Again, he doesn't need a ton of catches to get his yards. And he got 588 yards on 5 touchdowns. And I think that was just in the last 7 games. So that's nearly 20 yards per catch. Kaidon Salter, who I have as my starter for Colorado, and even if Juju Lewis gets some burn, you need a wide receiver like that can get you big yardage when you're on a shot down and you need to take a shot downfield. And honestly, man, when you watch his highlight tapes, they're available here on YouTube. As the channel progresses, I will splice in highlights as I get my YouTube game up. But he was a walking big play, and he was doing this as a freshman. You don't come out of high school as a freshman, no matter what level of the collegiate level, and take a spot from somebody who was there already before you, unless you are a dog. And because of his play, that dog mentality, going out there, getting comfortable, getting your numbers, and doing what you need to know how to do, he was named the American Athletic Conference Freshman of the Year. So let's fast forward. He enters the portal. Utah saw enough in him to want to bring him over in the transfer portal. But then, of course, Coach Prime and the Buffs came calling, and he flipped his commitment to Colorado. So a lot of big name schools like Utah, with the history that they have of winning football, wanted this kid, and he actually flipped to Colorado. And so if you've been paying attention to Well Off Media, Reach the People Media, in spring practices, you already know. You've seen the highlights, right? I know you've seen the one where Juju is holding up the watch. Well, guess who's he's throwing the ball to on that deep route? There's also a video of kind of Coach Prime. I think he was hanging out with Champ Bailey watching practice, and Salter lets go of a deep ball, and it's in slow-mo, man. It's real cinematic. And guess who's on the other side of that catch with Prime and Champ Bailey watching? Is none other than Joseph Williams. So here are a couple of reasons, besides statistics, besides the accolades, why I like him, right? And why I think he's going to eat in 2025. First of all, he has great hands. Right? He just does not drop passes. Go watch the tape. Go watch practice. He is not letting the ball hit the turf. And so as soon as the ball gets anywhere within his radius, he's going to haul it in. It doesn't matter if it's a screen, which I didn't really see him run a lot of screens, but I could see him with that bubble screen that works so well for us, getting the ball and making plays, or if it's a deep shot, whether it's a go ball, it's a fade, it's something to get him down the field on a skinny post, something like that. If he gets that ball anywhere close to him, he's going to bring it in. So I love the hands. And for wide receiver, I mean, what else do you need? Where else do you start but the hands? Second, I think I kind of alluded to this, is his catch radius. So we know Shurmur was super accurate, right? Probably the most accurate passer statistically in college football last year. And you can make an argument for the decade or maybe even longer. So he is really the quarterback's best friend. You don't have to be the perfect quarterback, put the ball right on the numbers. If you have Joseph Williams out there, he's going to go get it. All right. Whether it's a high ball, right, where he has to jump up and go get it, a low ball where he has to scoop it off the turf, or a back shoulder where he needs to adjust. You see all of these catches in his highlight tape. And it looks pretty much like he's playing basketball out there, right? Ball hits the rim, comes off the rim. Who's going to get the rebound, right? The guy who has the quicker reflexes and the guy probably who has the best hops or knows how to position himself, tracking the football or basketball in this example while it's in the air. So I love the catch radius on Joseph Williams. Now, his contested catch ability. So it's one thing to have great hands, it's another thing to have a great catch radius. It's another thing to have that contested catch ability that you want in your wide receiver on the outside. If you're throwing this kid a 50-50 ball, it's more like an 80-20, right? He's out there playing the Pareto principle. As a quarterback, you could just close your eyes, throw it over there, and pray. And 9 times out of 10, Joseph, or in this case, 8 times out of 10, Joseph Williams is going to come down with it. And in the highlight film, you see DBs draped all over him. You see DBs trying to make a play on the ball. You see DBs trying to, after he makes the catch, get the ball out, and they just simply cannot do that. And so one of the guys that I think his game might look similar to in the red zone and how Shedeur used him was Will Sheppard, right? He's gonna snap the ball, take one step, and just throw it up there, expecting that Will Sheppard is going to come down with that ball, no matter how he needs to come down with it. And so we need a red zone threat like that, somebody who can reliably, within the 20-yard mark, you can throw the ball to him, and you can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be a touchdown. And fourth, for me, is that he's a deep threat. Colorado needs a deep threat wide receiver, somebody who can keep that offense honest, or else they're going to get hit up for 30, 40, 50, 60-yard passes down the field. And he has the ability to stretch the field, and he does damage, which is what I love, outside the hashes, right? All the entire route tree that keeps Joseph Williams outside of the hash, he's completely comfortable out there making plays. And that's going to be super important because guess what? From all indications, Pat Shurmur is going to lean on his tight ends to own the middle of the field. And of course, he has a great slot receiver in Draylon Miller, who really is going to need some room to work. So if Joseph Williams and my number one wide receiver, who I'll make a video about at some point, are out there outside of the hashes, keeping the safeties and the corners honest, man, he's going to get his numbers. And he's going to get most of his numbers outside the hash, which is what I love to see. So he's clearing a lot of space out there on the boundary. He's going to open a lot of real estate underneath. And that's going to give a lot of guys opportunities to eat on curls and outs and just keeping the defense honest. All right, guys. And maybe something I didn't talk about that is characteristic of Jason Phillips, wide receivers. With his size, 6'2", I think he's like 190, 195 pounds. He's under Coach Swayze now, so we know he's going to come into the season strong and conditioned. What kind of blocker is he? Right? We need to see the continued blocking that we saw from the wide receivers last year, and I think he has the size. We're going to find out if he has the want to be a great blocker out there on the boundary so we could break more long runs. All right, so I have Joseph Williams locked in as a starter. I know it's kind of hard to say, but I really like him, and he's one of those players who's going to be very, very hard for them to keep him off the field. And opposite him, I like Omarion Miller. All right, so those are my two starting outside wide receivers. If anybody who wants to get out of zone and play single coverage, man coverage on those two, they're going to have a field day. And I'm sure as soon as those quarterbacks see those mismatches on the edges, they're going to get the ball out there to them. So we have a QB battle unfolding, all right? So we got Kaidon Salter, we got Juju Lewis, and now they have Joseph Williams to throw the ball to and let the best man win, all right? So my final thoughts on this. What kind of numbers do I think Joseph Williams is going to put up as a starting wide receiver for the Colorado Buffaloes in 2025? I'm giving him 55 catches, 850 yards, and 8 touchdowns. All right. And that would put him firmly in wide receiver 2 territory, especially if him and Omarion are playing opposite each other and they are clicking. All right. So remember this name, Joseph Williams, and remember where you heard it if you're hearing it for the first time. Certified hands, big catch radius, red zone killer, and a deep threat problem. And one of the most underrated pieces, in my personal opinion, of this Colorado Buffaloes offense going into the 2025 season. So, Common Sense Buffs Nation, I know you guys have been turning up. We're close to 400 subscribers, on our way to 1,000 subscribers. The engagement is crazy. The comments are crazy. And so if you've already hit that like button, you've already hit that subscribe button, you've already hit that share, meet me in the comments. I want all the smoke, man. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree. All right. Until next time,